Do what it takes to get there. I want you to repeat the words. I love myself. I love who I am. Florence Griffith Joyner was the fastest woman who ever lived. Her records from 1988 still haven't been broken. But on September 21st, 1998, her husband found her cold and lifeless at just 38 years old. The autopsy revealed something nobody expected. Not drugs, not what the rumors said, but a hidden condition she'd carried since birth. What happened after her death was even more shocking. Her own family turned on each other in ways that would have broken her heart. Florence Griffith Joyner was born into extreme poverty in the Watts projects. It was December 21st, 1959, and she was the seventh of 11 children in a neighborhood that never made life easy. Her parents split up when she was just 4. Money was always tight. The family had little, and they lived surrounded by crime and struggle. But even as a kid, Florence had something inside her. That harsh world never broke her. It made her tougher. People called her DD, and they laughed at her when she talked about what she wanted. She had big dreams. She told them she'd be a designer, an artist, a poet. They thought that was a joke. Every time she spoke up, someone told her to be more realistic. The teasing was constant, and it dug deep. It made her hide her dreams for years. But that fire never left. Every insult pushed her to work harder, even if they couldn't see it. Her father, Robert, didn't want his kids sounding like everyone else. He told them to speak properly, not like they were from Watts. It was his way of protecting them, making sure nobody thought less of them. But outside their door, it did the opposite. Kids would taunt Florence for acting different. Even back home, she never quite fit in. That left her feeling trapped between two worlds, at home and in the neighborhood. But it also gave her a sense of discipline. It shaped who she became. Running was the first thing that felt easy. By 7 years old, Florence was already racing and winning. Her speed was real and people noticed. But money was tight. So at 19, she stopped training. The bills had to be paid, and she went to work as a bank teller. It was a hard choice. Her talent was clear, but keeping her family afloat mattered more. Then one day, Coach Bob Kersey walked into that bank. He had trained some of the best runners in the world. When he recognized Florence, he offered her a way back into the sport. Thanks to him, she went to UCLA and started training seriously again. That chance changed everything. It put her on the path toward becoming the fastest woman in history. Still, it wasn't an easy road. Even as a college athlete at Cal State Northridge, she struggled with the most basic part of sprinting, her start. No matter how hard she tried, she couldn't seem to master those first few steps off the blocks. It frustrated her. Some coaches doubted she'd ever make it. As a top sprinter, Florence would cry after practice, wondering if she was chasing a dream that didn't fit her. But she kept going. By 1980, she had earned a place at the U.S. Olympic trials, running against future champions like Alice Brown and Jeanette Baldwin. She was so close to making the team. Then, politics shattered that dream. The U.S. decided to boycott the Moscow Olympics. After the Soviet invasion of Afghanistan, Florence was crushed. No matter how fast she had run, she would never get the chance to compete. It was one of the hardest losses she ever faced. When money ran out after her first year at Northridge, she left school. She went back to the bank for months. That was her life. It felt like the sport was slipping away. Then Bob Kersey stepped in again. He fought to get her financial aid, and Florence went to UCLA. The move paid off. She switched her focus to the 200m, where she could make up for her slower starts. She trained late into the night. Every setback became fuel. Every mile mattered. That work finally showed in 1982. She won the NCAA 200-meter title. Then she won the 400m in 1983. But she was still unsure. The pressure stayed with her, even when she stood on the podium with a silver medal at the 1984 Los Angeles Olympics. It felt like a loss. Coming in second left her hollow. Some athletes would have been satisfied. Florence wasn't. She left the sport for A while after those games, working at a bank again, feeling the weight of what she had missed. That could have been the end. But the fire inside her wouldn't go out. It was 7 p.m. at the 1980 U.S. Olympic trials in Eugene, Oregon, when Florence Griffith Joyner first crossed paths with Al Joyner. Florence was a graceful UCLA sprinter, and Al was a 20-year-old UPenn coming track star. When he saw her at the sign-in table, he thought she was a trainer at first. They exchanged names quickly, too shy to say much more. The next day, Al watched Florence warm up for the 100 meters and couldn't stop staring. Curious and smitten, he asked his sister, Jackie Joyner, who would one day be one of the greatest heptathletes, if Florence was seeing anyone. Jackie teased him, telling him she probably wouldn't be interested. Al kept his distance after that, but their story wasn't over. It took 6 years before they finally started dating in 1986 after both had risen to the top of their sport. That weight set the stage for one of track and field's most famous couples. When they decided to marry, the plan was to have a traditional wedding after the 1988 Olympics, but a powerful earthquake in Los Angeles changed all that. On October 1st, 1987, a 5.9 quake shook the city and scared Florence deeply. It made her realize life was short. Instead of waiting, she convinced Al they had to marry right away. Just 9 days later, on October 10th, 1987, they slipped off to Las Vegas and wed at the wedding gardens. Florence wore a dress she'd once used as a Halloween costume. The number 7 had special meaning for them. Al had proposed at 7 p.m. on July 17th, 1987. So it felt perfect. That spontaneous wedding was the start of a close bond. The song All My Life by Katie and JoJo would later play at Florence's funeral in 1998. A heartbreaking reminder of their deep love. After the wedding, Al became more than Florence's husband. He became her coach and greatest supporter. Florence had trained under Bob Kersey before, but she felt boxed in by his style. Kersey pushed her to copy others'